Hey there, and welcome back to Temporary Locals.
I'm Jared.
And I'm Megan, and this week we are taking you to the windy city of Chicago, Illinois. But before we get into that, if you're new here, Jared and I are an adventure loving couple sharing our real stories and experiences from the places that we've actually been. So, whether you're planning your next adventure or you're just here for the storytelling, we are so happy that you're here. We hope that you stick around, subscribe, and join us. We put out new episodes every week. So this week we have a current event for you. We just happened to see while we were kind of putting together this episode that some news coming out of Thailand. They've recently cut down their visa-free entry days. And so this is according to siamlegal.com, but they have approved a major revision of their visa-free entry policy. So it used to be 60 days before you had to apply for a visa that you could be in the country, and they had that available to 93 countries and territories. And now they're kind of cutting that down a little bit. So 59 countries and territories will receive visa-free entry for tourism for up to 30 days. Anyone who enters Thailand before the measures take effect, which it was saying like from the publications, I was like, from this publication that I'm reading, or I wasn't really following, so I'm not clear on when that starts. But basically, you're going to be grandfathered in if you're already
Right.
there.
Yep.
And they're saying that foreign nationals that are planning to stay in Thailand for remote work, retirement, family, business, investment, or other long term purposes should consider an immigration option suited to their circumstances rather than relying on repeated visa free entry. So, I didn't know that they had a retirement visa, so I was looking that up.
Yeah, it's one of those destinations a lot of people retire to because it's so cheap, and with your retirement, you can get more bang for your buck, as they say.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the requirements and it was brief, but it was
hmm
like you have to have some sort of like money in the bank or something there.
Yeah, it's a very low amount though. You have to have a certain amount of money in the bank to stay there, like when you arrive, or you have to have a certain amount of money coming in every month, so they know that you have like income.
Yeah.
But it's a very low amount
I
for.
wonder what the reason is though. Is it so they can make sure that you can like leave?
Well, it's to make sure that you aren't just coming there and being a dirty backpacker who's going to stay and like bum money and
Not contribute.
yeah, not contribute. They they
Yeah, it
they
makes
don't want
sense.
people just like moving there. They want people that are actually able to like, contribute to the economy. Um,
That makes sense.
it's a low amount though. Everything that's required. They use bot over there, and so from U.S. dollar to bot, and you could probably look this up, but it's astronomically cheap. Um, so yeah, it's one of those places that I mean, I've been a lot of cheap places in the world, and I don't mean cheap in like a negative way, but just like very affordable places, I guess. Southeast Asia is probably the most affordable place I've ever been. Um, More so than South America, Mexico, even Egypt and places in like Northern Africa. Thailand is a very cheap destination, which is why a lot of people choose to move there and retire there, you know.
Yeah, it says your balance must stay above 400,000 baht
Mhm.
after the initial 3-month seasoning period. So what is that to US dollars?
I used to know the conversion when I was like traveling Thailand. I had it down like that, but yeah, I don't remember.
About 11, almost $12,000.
You have to have that when you arrive if you're planning on staying there.
It says your balance must stay above $12,000.
Hmm.
And
After
it
the
doesn't
initial 3-month seasoning period. Yeah, yeah. Huh. I wonder how they know that. Like they continually check your bank account. I mean,
yeah, it's interesting.
but the thing is though, is if you're moving to Thailand for retirement, you're gonna have that amount of money in your account. Um,
Yeah, that's true.
I would think most people either get a pension or like or if you have like a 401k and you retire, you check out, you get your 401k. I mean, you can go to Thailand and stay for the rest of your life easily. Um, Even if it's just a few $100,000, which again is why people do it. You can go over there and buy a nice home and pay a tenth of the cost you'd pay here in the states.
Yeah. Oh, it says okay, so there's 3 different ways. You can do a Thai bank deposit because I had that question, like, is it just your bank account or you actually have to open a bank account in Thailand?
Hmm.
So you do have to open a bank account, or you can show a monthly income or pension of at least 65,000 baht, confirmed via an embassy certification letter or 12 months of bank transfer records.
Hmm.
Or you can do a combination, combine bank savings and annual income.
Yeah.
This is interesting. This is all on siam-legal.com.
Hmm.
All kinds of information on there. Anyways, I just thought that was interesting. I guess they're, trying to kind of crack down a little bit on their tourism. Not really.
Long-term tourists, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, expats and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people don't get like I don't know if you can get residency there or become a legal citizen. Maybe if you marry, but I mean, I know people that I follow on online and stuff that have been in Thailand for many, many years, and they still have to do the checkpoint runs and things to get their passports renewed. Even all these years later. So yeah, I mean that's just an extra step you have to take, but living there is, I mean, it's worth it. Um,
Yeah. Well, so it was 60 days. It was 2 months before. Now it's 30 days.
mhm,
There was a few countries I saw on there that they reduced it to 15 days. They're probably like surrounding country. I don't remember exactly which ones. You could
mhm,
probably look it up. I just thought that was interesting that there was like 2 or 3 countries that they were like, "For you, 15."
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, if people were doing that, so what were people doing before? Like living there, and then every 60 days they would just hop the border and then come back?
Yeah, there's actually I've talked about this on this podcast, but there's actually it's like a business people run where they'll actually get shuttles and they'll take people that need to do this, like expats and things like that, up to Cambodia or they'll cross a border with a neighboring country and then just come back and it's essentially resetting your passport. So it resets your 60 days.
So now they would just have to do that monthly.
Yeah, I guess so, which I know is they're probably not happy about, but I think it was longer than 60 days at one point. But I followed a guy for a long time, even before I ever went to Thailand, a guy named Thailand Rob on YouTube. And he's a guy from the States that quit his job and moved to Thailand. And now he does YouTube videos in Thailand. And he's talked about that at length and done videos on that and like how you have to go about that. So interesting.
Yeah. Well, shifting gears, coming back to the US. Our current event took us to Thailand, but we're coming back to the US to talk about Chicago.
Yeah.
You wanna take it away?
Yeah, sure.
I've only been to the Chicago airport on a layover, so
Yeah, and we'll talk about the Chicago airport. But in general, Chicago's one of those places. It's one of those cities that I think I wanted to hate and not like, just kind of due to like some preconceived notions of it. But I ended up really loving Chicago every time I've been there, and I've been to Chicago multiple times. Some of the things I'm going to talk about are from like different trips to Chicago, because I've been there multiple times. I really like Chicago. It I feel the same way about Chicago that I felt about like LA. Whereas kind of like I said, I didn't really want to like it. And I had these like stereotypes in my mind of what LA was going to be like. But, you and I had a great time in LA. I spent a lot of time in LA too. And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it gets a bad rap from a lot of people in the middle of the country, but you go to these places and people in the middle of the country a lot of times talk about like people that live on the coast and the big cities, stereotype them like the flyover states and that people are whatever stupid or these flyover states aren't worth visiting, and then people travel across the country and they like are kind of shocked at like how wrong they were about these places.
We saw that during the World Cup.
Yeah, we saw that during the World Cup, and that was a lot of Europeans coming over, and instead of just going to the big cities like New York City or LA or Chicago, Miami, like people actually went through like middle America and met people and went back home with a real different opinion of the heart of the country, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
But I think that works the opposite way too. I think that people from small town America or like middle America, like I'm from, we have these like stereotypes about big cities, and people that live in big cities and big city folk, you know. And but most of the big cities I've been to, I've had those stereotypes kind of crushed, and not saying that like some of those stereotypes do exist in certain places, but overall, like I loved LA, you know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't specifically the people, but just LA in general. It's beautiful. Nature wise, the California coast is amazing. And I had that same kind of feeling about Chicago. I wasn't really thrilled to go to Chicago the first time. Um, and like I said, I kind of had some like ideas about Chicago and a lot of stuff that goes on there, but I ended up really loving it. And for a northern city, I mean, I know it's Midwest, but it's northern. You know, I really enjoy it. And you know me, I like the tropics. I like it down south. I like it where it's warm. Um, so I'm not big on like northern states or cities, but I really loved Chicago. I really like Chicago. It really does have its like own vibe and culture.
Yeah.
It's a lot different than even like other Midwestern cities. So for those reasons, I actually was surprised at how I felt about Chicago. And I obviously kept going back. So um, and I really like the Chicago airport, and that brings us to the airport. The Chicago airport to me is kind of like how we talk about the Charlotte airport in that it's a good sized airport. It's not crazy. It's not super big. It's large, but it's not Atlanta or like some of these really large airports that are kind of hard to navigate and chaotic. Chicago's very busy and it's a larger airport, but it's not too big, but it's big enough that there's stuff to do. And that's kind of how I've talked about Charlotte. I prefer the Charlotte airport. I feel the same way about the Charlotte airport. It's not the Columbia airport where there's 3 gates, 4 gates, whatever, and nothing's open, but it's not Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's kind of the right size airport. And yeah, the Chicago airport is really cool. It's really chill. It's easy to navigate. There's a lot to do and see there. There's a lot of shops, a lot of food. There's a probably the most notable thing in the airport, at least that I've seen, is there's a giant dinosaur skeleton, which
Yeah.
you've also seen.
Yeah. Because I, yeah, you mentioned it, and I was looking through my pictures because I really thought I had been to Chicago,
Hmm.
and people are I might get roasted for this. I was thinking of Milwaukee.
People in Chicago aren't going to like that.
So, yeah, I really thought I had been to Chicago, but I guess I haven't. Because I don't know, I thought I'd seen the bean, but I guess I made that up, or I just don't have the pictures from it. Um, because when I was looking up in my phone to find pictures of Chicago, all I could find were pictures, like, from the airport and of my dog in the airport because I flew through with him. Um, but yeah, I had a picture of the dinosaur,
Hmm.
uh, skeleton, the
Yeah, I don't.
Brachiosaurus.
Yeah, it's a Brachiosaurus. I didn't look up the height of it, but it's goes all the way up to the ceiling, so it's at least 50 feet. It seems anyway. And I don't know if it has a name. Normally things like that will have like a name, but it's kind of cool because you're walking through the airport, going to your gate. It's after you get through security. It's in the main part of the airport where the terminals are, and yeah, you just pass this giant skeleton, this giant Brachiosaurus dinosaur skeleton, and I assume it's not a real skeleton. I assume it's like a recreation, but
Yeah. Oh, 72 foot
72
long,
foot
4-story tall. Oh, so it's 72 feet long, 4 stories tall, and it's a cast. Its name is Ernestine.
Ernestine. Okay, so there you go. So if you've never been to the Chicago airport and you go to Chicago or you're flying through the airport, check that out for sure. You'll see it. It's in the main walkway, like as everybody's walking down. But yeah, so the Chicago airport's really cool. And I've flown through the Chicago airport many times before, but I just thought that I'd kind of mention that in like talking about going to actual Chicago and spending time in Chicago. So, so yeah, moving on. I say that the Chicago airport is easy to navigate, and it is, but my first time there, as I was leaving the airport, I actually stay when I go to Chicago. I stay in Arlington Heights, which is right outside Chicago. I will talk about like the inner city and downtown also because I've spent a lot of time there. But typically I stay in Arlington Heights. It's a lot quieter, still a lot to do and everything, but it's more of a suburb. But the hotel I was staying at, let's just say that they're known for their cookies. You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
And we love their cookies. Yeah, and on the phone, the lady at the hotel was like, "Yeah, you're gonna go to this platform outside at pickup, and you're gonna look for the shuttle that has the cookies on it." So it seemed easy enough. So I was out there and I waited because they do shuttle runs from the airport, and I was out there for a while just waiting and watching, all these different shuttles go by for all these different hotels and places to stay. And finally, I see a shuttle that has not cookies, but a cookie on it.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, this is my ride. So I jumped on and I get taken to the wrong hotel.
Oh, no.
And I had to explain to them where I was going, the address and everything. But I realized pretty quickly that I wasn't going the right way and that they were taking me to the wrong place. So that was a whole ordeal in itself.
Yeah, how'd you get out of that? How'd you figure that out?
I got dropped off. Well, I went to that hotel and then I had to get an Uber to my hotel.
Mm.
Um, the second time I went, the second time I went to Chicago in the past couple of years, 'cause I've gone a number of times in the past just like couple of years. The second time I went to Chicago, the shuttle was longer running. I flew in really late, and uh, they're like, "You'll have to get a taxi," and it had to be a taxi because the hotel was going to like reimburse me. Um, so I don't think I could do Uber, but so I remember I got a taxi the second time, and so that time I made it there fine. But yeah, it's it's just one of those things that happens when you're traveling that's just
Mhm.
unavoidable, and it's a story, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like when I went to LA and I had a rental car and I took the rental car shuttle. I had to take a bus to get to a different parking lot to get to the shuttles, and then by the time I got there, my flight was late, and
Mhm.
so the budget rental car company I went through, their shuttle wasn't there, so I was just everyone else that rode up there with me got on their little shuttles and left, and I was just standing there by myself with my suitcase like, "Alright, I guess I'm walking to Alamo."
Yeah,
It was like a mile
a
walk.
fucking tumbleweed goes by, you're just there by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had to walk through
It was like a mile through, like, construction, and I
in
was like
LA, yeah,
yeah, and I was like, "I'm gonna get"
catcalled,
no, I thought I was gonna get
worse,
murdered.
murdered, yeah, yeah,
I was like, this is fine," just pushing my suitcase along, like
yeah,
yeah, it's just one of those things, you know?
right,
Things happen when you travel, it's not always glamorous and fun,
mhm.
you don't typically see a lot of that on, social media for sure.
Yeah, it's the aspect of travel that, like, isn't glamorous and exciting, and, you're right, you don't really see it on and that's why I certain people I follow that are, like, travel influencers, travel content creators, they post, like, real stuff. They post, like, real travel moments and situations, and but you see a lot of the stuff, a lot of the travel content online is, like, it doesn't show you that side of it, and so I
Yeah,
think a lot of people that don't travel a lot or start to travel have this preconceived notion that it's like what you see on Instagram,
yeah,
and most of it is sitting waiting in lines, sitting on airport floors, sleeping on benches,
yeah,
missing your flight, missing the shuttle, not knowing what language somebody not knowing how to communicate, trying to it's figuring it out.
mhm.
But, to me, that's what's beautiful about travel,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, you see the pictures of Machu Picchu, but you don't see the footage of the 4-hour car ride or no, it's like
It's
to the
all day.
yeah.
We left at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, but you don't see the it was like a couple-hour train ride to a bus ride
Mhm.
to
You don't see what it takes to get there.
yeah.
And this is a we're off topic, but in talking about Machu Picchu, it's like I kinda like that, and I like that for it because when you go to Machu Picchu, granted, it's obviously touristy, a lot of people go there and everything, but you feel more like an adventurer than going
Like
to
you earned it.
say yeah, like you earned it and like because it's the lost city of the Inca, and it was never even found by the Spanish. that's how far out there it is. And so you really feel like when you go to Machu Picchu, like you're a real explorer, you're a real adventurer, as opposed to, and I'm not shitting on them because I love them, but like, the pyramids of Giza, they're right there. They're right next to the hotels. They're right across the street from Cairo. You can walk there.
Yeah.
It's like they're amazing and they're awesome and it's adventurous being there. But like, yeah, Machu Picchu, you really have to go through a lot to get there and you have to like earn it, like you said. So to me, it's Machu Picchu is incredible, and it makes it all that much better when you get there and you actually put eyes on it. So
Yeah. So how'd you get around Chicago?
well, uh, a bunch of different ways, but the first time I went to Chicago, um, a buddy of mine that was staying at the hotel with me, we decided to go downtown, and we didn't want to Uber or like get a taxi or anything. We wanted to like really experience Chicago. So from Arlington Heights, we took the train. Um,
Is that public
yeah,
transport?
yeah,
Yeah.
public transport, and that's another thing where you kind of have like this like stereotype of like public transport Chicago. Um, but it was nice. We didn't have any issues. Um, I don't take a lot of trains in inner cities, so for me, it's like it wasn't. We had to kind of figure it out. We had to ask some questions like, where do we go if we're trying to go here? But the train didn't go from like where we were staying in Arlington Heights, so we did have to actually, I think, if I remember, we had to take an Uber to the train station to get on the train to go downtown,
Mm.
which wasn't far, but we weren't going to walk there. But the train system's called the Metra, and from Arlington Heights to downtown Chicago, it took a good hour or so. There was different stops along the way. Obviously, we had to wait for our stop, and we wanted to get as close to like downtown Millennium Park area as we could. And so that was my first trip to Chicago. We got off the train, and um, the main thing that everybody will tell you, or at least everybody in my experience from Chicago, when you go to Chicago, is that they're big on sports and food. I'm not a big sports guy.
Deep dish pizza.
Yeah, deep dish pizza. There's a lot of good food in Chicago. But that and food and sports. I'm not a big sports guy. I don't care about the Cubs. Um, I know the stadium's probably awesome, but so it was food mainly for us that we were seeking out. And one of the big spots that a lot of people go, it's kind of touristy, I guess you could say, is Giordano's. And they're
Giordano's.
Yeah, Giordano's. And so they're known for their deep dish pizza, and there's a lot of places. I know people from Chicago are going to be like, Giordano's sucks. You got to go here. You got to. It's one of those things, right? But that was the main one that everybody kind of told us about. And we saw why it's so popular. When we got there, we walked to it, and there was just a crazy line out the door. Like, just so many people there. So to me, it was like kind of super touristy and busy. And I was like, I don't want to wait for this food.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed that like places like that, they may have really good food, but a place like that that's just like cranking out food, it's just a conveyor belt, and they don't like. It's not the same as going to like a smaller, more local spot that like put more time and effort into each meal.
Well, I remember when we talked to Anthony about being in Italy, he basically kind of said the same thing.
Hmm.
Like, there's some places that you go and like it's good, but like places like that are like a tourist thing that like people show up to, it's like they don't really have to have quality food because they're gonna have people in the door anyways.
Right. Yeah, people are going to go there just from hearing about it, and
Yeah.
it's like a staple in that city or that country, whatever.
And this is nothing against Giordano's. It might be really, really good. I don't know.
Well, I did end up going there, but
Oh, okay.
but hang on. But not this time. So this time, it was really busy, and we were like, let's go to a different spot. So we went around the corner and we found a place. We may have walked a bit, I don't remember, but we found a place called Gordo's, and it was a Gordo's Tiny Taco Shop. Because I was like, I'm always down for tacos. I know it's Chicago; they're probably not known for Mexican food, but like they had really good food. It was a really good taco shop.
I
So
love when you find like places like that. Like we had found that um Gilberto's taco shop in Utah that was
yeah, really good,
slamming.
really good. Yeah. Yeah, so that was and Gordo's was really cool. It was like it was a taco shop, but they had like really cool like artwork in there and just like the whole ambiance, all the things adorning the walls, and it was set up really cool. So, um, I
It's
think,
always nice when things work out like that when you're traveling and you're like, we had a plan to go to this place,
yeah,
but it ended up not working, and then like it all kind of just like works out, not necessarily how you planned.
right. Well, and Chicago's one of those cities where if you try to go somewhere for food and it doesn't work out, whether they're closed or it's too busy or whatever, you're going to find other good food places.
Yeah.
Chicago's a food city for sure. Um, Again, I'm not big on northern cities. I don't like being in Chicago when it's cold, but they have really good food. They're one of those cities that's kind of known for it. So, um, yeah. And that was mostly my main first trip to Chicago. After we left Giordano's, we walked around downtown Chicago, looked at all the city lights. They have a really, really cool downtown, especially at night. Going to Chicago at night and walking around is really cool. It's a lot like New York City. I compared it to New York City, but quieter, not as busy. There's people walking around. It was kind of busy, but it's not as chaotic and hectic as like New York City. Um, you got the tall skyscrapers, the beautiful lights, and they have the river that you can walk across the bridge, and you look down the river, and it's just beautiful. Nighttime skyline city.
Lights
Yeah,
reflecting off the water.
yeah, beautiful views. We'll post photos. I took some photos. I don't even think I had my camera with me at this time. So they're just like phone photos, and even for taking them with my phone, they're really nice photos. So, but that first night we went downtown, when we got there, it was just starting to get dark. So we were there during the day a bit too. But yeah, so um,
Did you see the sunset? Or you got there kind of after sunset?
um, I think the sunset happened, but it wasn't like,
Spectacular.
yeah, it wasn't notable. It wasn't noteworthy or anything.
Mm.
Another thing I did in Chicago, one of the times I went, was I visited a Hindu temple, and I'm going to try to say this, the Baps Swaminarayan Mandir Hindu temple, and that's actually in Bartlett. So it's not far from Chicago or Arlington Heights, but it's a bit of a drive, maybe 20 minutes away. I don't know. But it's just something I looked up and I kind of saw. Now they have these Hindu temples all over the country. They have them in different places, but the one in Chicago or in Bartlett, right outside Chicago, is like one of the better ones. It's really spectacular.
Like architecturally.
Architecturally, it's bigger.
Yeah.
It's like a little mini. Um, yeah, I mean it's like a full on Hindu temple, and the people there actually go and like pray, but it's a tourist spot, and so people go there to see it. But we don't have anything like that around us. I think there probably is one in Atlanta. Um, but again, I don't know that it's as big or as like spectacular. Um, but yeah, it was, so I got an Uber there to do that, and yeah, it dropped me off at the front gate, and I just like walked in. Um, I believe it was free. I think it's free. You just kind of walk into it. Uh, like I said, people go there and actually have like their Hindu services and stuff. And there's, I think, a little gift shop there and a little area where like you can go in and people are actually in there. Um, but the architecture for this temple is just incredible, and it really looks ancient. I mean, it was built in, I think, like 2004. Um, but it looks very ancient, and it's beautiful. It's made from Turkish limestone and Indian pink sandstone. Um,
Mm.
and the detail in the stonework is just like incredible, and it's the kind of thing that you just like walk around and you're just amazed at, and it's huge too. So I spent a good amount of time there. Like you could spend hours there.
Did you
um
go inside or you just kind of hung around outside? Wow.
no, I didn't go inside. I
Is
don't
this it?
know. Is that the one?
Oh, maybe I should look up in
Go to Bartlett or type in Bartlett. Yeah, it's and I have a lot of really awesome pictures from there. That time I did take my camera. Yeah, so that's the front entryway when you first get there, the one down there in the middle.
this.
No, to the
Okay.
left.
Oh,
Yeah, and there are elephants these big stoneworked elephants in the front too on either side. And yeah, it's like this really like it's like a white creamy colored temple.
Wow.
And you could just walk around and look at the detail and the artwork of it. It's amazing. And
That is
this is the kind of stuff that you would find in India, but you don't see here in the States very often. So if you have one of these temples near you, I would suggest looking it up and going and checking it out because
that is
it was
amazing.
really cool. It's not this isn't something that you think of necessarily when you think of like Chicago, but for me, um, I looked up things to do nearby, and I know there's a lot to do in Chicago, and a lot of people probably would overlook this, but to me, it was like really spectacular to go and visit.
Yeah, wow, they have, like, a little kind of
Yeah.
pot, like, reflection fountain thingy in front of it.
Yep. Yeah, I took some really cool photos. Those elephants that are there are really spectacular.
Yeah.
I mean, just the detail on this stuff.
Yeah, it's like a sculpture of an elephant kind of all dressed up. It's got, like, a hat on
Mhm.
it and, like, a blanket over the back of it, but it's a sculpture, and the detail in the sculpture, it looks like it's actually got a blanket draped over it.
Yeah, it's and the crazy part is, like, again, this isn't a super old temple, it was built fairly recently, but this is the kind of stuff you'd see that, is 1,000 years old in other parts of the world, so it makes you realize, like, how, like, artistic people used to be. They don't make things like this anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, like, a modern church, and it's like, that just doesn't compare, but, um,
I know, man, if
yeah,
it doesn't like, the modern churches that are, like
mega churches.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just
there's no, like, stained glass or,
looks like
like
a school,
yeah.
and then you see, like, the old cathedrals in
Ugh,
Europe, and you're just like, the artwork that went into and just the, like, sheer the engineering, everything, like, it's just we've lost that over time,
yeah,
but so that's another thing I did. Again, that doesn't really have anything to do with Chicago per se, and those temples are found in other places around the country, but it's something that I did, so I wanted to talk about personally because it's one of my favorite things I did while I was there. Um, yeah,
yeah, that's really cool. It's gorgeous,
yeah,
and I mean, it's something to check out when you're in Chicago.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because I would think that there'd be people that would go down if you're staying in Chicago for any reason, but you go downtown a few times. Again, Chicago's a big city, but you can get the gist of it for a few times going downtown. So it's just something different that you could go see. That's just right outside the city.
Yeah.
So, but I have gone back downtown many times, and uh, the last time I went downtown in Chicago, I was there, same hotel in Arlington Heights, and I was staying there with my buddy Shannon. Shout out Shannon, and we decided we wanted to go downtown one night. So we got an Uber from the hotel to go downtown Chicago, and this is in the evening time. So this was 4 or 5 o'clock p.m., which is not the best time. And so even just finding somebody that was willing to take that drive from Arlington Heights to go downtown Chicago was kind of difficult at first, but we found a guy who came and picked us up, and we got in his car. And Shannon and I are in the back. He's in the front, obviously, and he's driving us downtown, and we hit heavy traffic once we kind of get out of Arlington Heights and we're heading towards like downtown Chicago on the freeway. And we ended up just being in the car in this Uber for like an hour and a half. Now, downtown Chicago from where we were staying in Arlington Heights is maybe a half hour drive.
Mhm.
And we were in this car for like an hour and a half. And in that hour and a half, we talked to this guy. His name was Dirk. And I'll always remember Dirk. He was a really cool guy. Shout out Dirk if you're listening. I think I even told him about the podcast, so he may be. Uh, but he was from South Africa because Shannon and I, we were trying to like place his accent, and the South African accent to me is kind of, it can go either way. To me, it can kind of sound British, English, maybe.
Mhm.
It sounds like it could be a mixture of different things. So we weren't really sure what his accent was. So we got to talking and asked him, and he's from South Africa, and he moved there with his wife, and he he Ubers. Um, but he was like fascinated with American culture, American politics. I mean, he was talking to Shannon and I about stuff that like we weren't even really interested in. He was asking us about our politics and what we think about Trump and like just different things that like to the rest of the world they're just like really interested in, and but us here in the States we're like tired of hearing about or talking about.
Mhm.
Um but he was fascinated with American culture, and he was fascinated with American football. Where he's from in South Africa, like they have rugby. And so
Mhm.
he was like a big rugby guy growing up and he played rugby, but American football, I guess, is like the closest thing we have to that to him. So when he moved to America, he became fascinated with American football. And now he's like the biggest NFL fan. And I forget who his team was. I don't know if it was the Bears or not, but um, my buddy Shannon, he's also into football, and so they talked about football forever, and they talked about fantasy football. This Dirk guy was telling us that he like found a group of guys that do fantasy football, and he like got became friends with them, and he's like asking my buddy Shannon about these different players and all. They're just going on and on about the NFL. Um, but he loved America. He loved being here, and he was just like, yeah, he's like just telling us all the stuff that he really loves about the country, and it's kind of cool because you don't always get that from people.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's like a misconception we as people from the States have about foreigners that come here is that like,
They're not interested in anything.
yeah, or because like some people don't, um, and there's nothing wrong with keeping your own culture, but a lot of people don't assimilate at all. And when you have somebody that's from another part of the world that comes here and they fall in love with it, it's like it's kind of refreshing to hear about because I think a lot of people have a negative view of the United States a lot of times. And I think it's important to know that like when people come here, they have a different view of it. Like we were talking about with um,
The
the
World Cup.
World Cup, you know. Um, and a lot of people in other places in the world also don't feel the way about the United States that you may expect them to, and about certain people in the United States. Uh, I had a buddy tell me recently, like when I talked about doing a trip, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I want to go there, man. Like a lot of the world doesn't like us right now." And I was like, "Dude, I've never had a problem." And that's not to say that there isn't places in the world that they don't like us, obviously, or that, they might not like Americans, but by and large, everybody I've ever talked to are like, "Oh, you're from the States? Like, oh, what do you think where are you from in the States? What state?" And then you tell them and they're like, "I don't know where that is," but
Yeah.
they know like New York, California. But uh, people are friendly, and we as I think when you actually get out and you travel, you realize that like, oh, everybody's just like us. Most people aren't happy with their governments. Most people aren't, fully happy with everything going on in their country. But most people can like distinguish your country from you. And I think that's important to understand is that like the world doesn't hate America, and a lot of people really love America.
Yeah.
And you see that when you go to other countries, you see people in other countries that like are big into like American pop culture, things
Mhm.
that like I don't even care about, and they
Yeah.
they love it. Um, you know, oh hey, McDonald's, they try to like say anything that like can kind of bridge the gap between your cultures. So they just start naming like, oh, LeBron James or, like
Mhm.
just any like big thing that's here in the States. And it's just like, yeah, man, cool. Like, they want to have a connection and that's the only way they know how. And so for Dirk, it was American football. And he fell in love with American football. So he was a really cool guy. We really liked him a lot. He dropped us off right at Millennium Park. And so I had gone to Millennium Park before in my previous trips, but Shannon and I, he wanted to see the bean, and it, I don't really get the big deal with it. It's a big bean,
It's
you know.
just a big sculpture.
Yeah, it's a big sculpture. I mean, it's cool, but I don't. It's like one of those modern art pieces where you're kind of like, okay, I don't. You can walk below it.
Yeah.
It's not actually supposed to be a bean.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be I forget. I forget what it is, but everybody just calls it the bean because it looks like a bean, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure. pretty much everybody listening to this has seen pictures of it.
It's called
Um,
Cloudgate.
it's called Cloudgate, but it's supposed to be yeah, it's Millennium Park at the Loop, which is the big area that you can walk around. Um, what does it say it's supposed to be?
It's
It's inspired by liquid mercury. Yeah,
supposed to be a connection between people and the city, inspired by mercury, inspired by liquid mercury to reflect the moving skyline, clouds, and visitors.
yeah, and I will say that is that it is cool to like take photos of because it is so reflective. It looks like a giant mirror.
It does look like liquid mercury. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, but it's just shaped like a bean, so everybody calls it the bean. But
Yeah.
um,
It's kind of disrespectful to the artist.
I mean, why'd you make a bean? Could have made it any shape, but
Cloudgate.
it is cool. And it does reflect the skyline of the city around it. So it is cool to see. I just from an artistic side of things and like as far as like artistic expression, I didn't really get it, but you got to go see it. It's one of those staples, you know.
Yeah.
Just like Giordano's, I guess.
This says the artist Anish Kapoor originally disliked the name The Bean, but it later he grew fond of.
Right. Yeah.
Like I said, he probably was like, that's not what I meant it to be. And he's like, all right, whatever, it's The Bean.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably like, I meant it to be, it was supposed to look like a hat or something.
It's probably supposed to look like a drop of liquid mercury.
I think that's what it's supposed to be. Is it's supposed to be like, yeah, it's inspired by liquid mercury, but it's supposed to look like a drop of liquid.
Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah, you see it now, but before that, you just see a bean, a
Yeah,
big silver bean.
that
But
is cool.
it's one of those things that you go see, you know. And this time, so yeah, we wanted to go to Millennium Park first before it got too late. But actually, going to see the bean is better, I think, at night because it is so reflective. And at night, you can really get the skyscrapers and stuff around it at night in it,
Yeah.
like that photo. Uh, so I got some decent photos of that. But yeah, we decided to go to Giordano's after that. And this time we actually went. We waited in line, and we were like, we got to do it.
Is there just always a line there?
Yeah, I mean, it's always busy. I don't know how. Again, we were there like not super. We were there around dinner time, I guess. So it was, you know, it was busy when we were there.
Mhm.
Every time even if I've just walked by, it's always been busy. So, um, but yeah, it was so we waited, and yeah, it was the food was good. We got deep dish pizza again. You got to do it right.
Man, we were talking about deep dish pizza earlier, just briefly, and like, should we do that for dinner? Should we get pizza for
Do we
dinner?
have deep dish pizza around here?
Well, are you a fan of deep dish?
Not really.
Yeah, I just was thinking pizza. Maybe I started thinking some pepperoni. But anyways,
Anyway,
was it good?
yeah, it was good. It was good. It was, you know, again, I know there's going to be people listening to this that are from Chicago or have frequented Chicago that are going to say, Giordano sucks. You got to go to this place. And by the way, I also want to throw it out there. I know Giordano's is a chain. They have them in other places now, but it originated in Chicago. It is a Chicago staple. And the people I talk to, at least the locals in Chicago that I interacted with, all swear by Giordano's.
Okay.
Giordano's.
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 So the one that you went to, is that like the OG?
I think so. I think so. I think there's even a few in Chicago, but the one I went to was the big one and it was busy. So, but I'm sure they're all like that. Um, yeah, it was good. And another thing I just want to throw out there, and I don't know if anybody else that's ever been to like this area of Chicago has experienced, but when we were leaving the bean after we had seen the bean and everything, we were kind of walking around Millennium Park, but we were leaving. I saw the biggest rats I've ever seen in my life. And I just thought that was a funny story to tell because it was getting dark. It was dark, and we're leaving the park. It's a big park area, and something ran across the fucking walkway real quick, and it kind of like threw us off, and we didn't really see what it was. And I was kind of like, "What the hell was that?" I didn't know if it was like a cat because it was big,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought like maybe it was just a cat or something. We didn't really see what it was, and then it happened again, And I'm like, what the hell is that? And we look and we're looking around and you just see these giant rats everywhere, dude. Like there was a bunch of them and they were so big. And I remember just being looking around like, and it's just normal. People are just walking around, but I just was like, dude, there's so many giant rats running around. And
It's like the street dogs in Peru.
yeah. And I was just like, man, let's get out of here. So yeah,
Man.
giant rats, deep dish pizza, a giant metallic bean, a dude from South Africa. Um, it was an adventure because we walked around town for a long time, and I really love walking downtown Chicago. Like I said, it's not as busy as like a New York City. There didn't seem to be a lot of people out, honestly, when I was there. Um, yeah, downtown seemed kind of dead for a big city. I mean, it was still busy. There were still people, but like for a big city like that, it seemed kind of dead to me. And a
Was it
lot of
during the
stuff,
week?
it was during the week. A lot of stuff seemed closed too. There's a giant like Target down there
And
that
this
was
wasn't
busy.
during COVID. This was just within the last few years.
Yeah, I just went last year.
Yeah.
Last year to Chicago was one of the times. Um, but one thing we were looking for that Shannon and I wanted to do, we wanted to get some cigars. And for whatever reason, I mean, I like cigars. I typically will smoke a cigar if I'm somewhere tropical or nice on a beach somewhere, so. Um, but him and I were like, we should get some cigars tonight, and we should take them back to the hotel and like sit out front and smoke some cigars. So we were looking for cigars, and it wasn't super late at this point, but it was getting late, and we're looking up trying to find these different cigar shops. And so finally, he finds one, and we put it in the GPS, and we walk to it, and it's a few blocks away. And we get there, and we're looking for the cigar shop, but we smell cigars. We're like, we smell them. Where are they? And we turn and look, and we're standing in front of a cigar shop, but it's completely pitch black and it's closed.
Mm.
And we had just walked, not really far, but a few blocks, and we were kind of bummed out because we're like, oh, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
and we're standing there kind of looking through the window, and we're like, shit, cigar place is closed. And all of a sudden, we hear somebody behind us like yelling to us. And we turn, and I don't know what it is. I guess it's just like my instincts from being in big cities or traveling. My first instinct, I didn't think anything of it. I thought somebody was like trying to like scam us or trying to sell us something on the street.
Yeah.
And so my initial reaction was to like just ignore this person trying to get our attention. But we look, and this guy gets out of his car, stops his car, parks it, gets out, and like runs up to us. And he's like, hey, you guys looking for cigars? And I didn't put two and two together still. And I was like, is this guy going to try to sell cigars on the street? Which would have been fine. I probably would have bought them. But he's like, oh, I'll open the shop for you guys. And we were like, oh, we didn't realize like he was the owner of the shop.
Yeah.
And we just caught him. Like he had to have because he was just getting in his car when we walked up.
Yeah.
So he had just locked the store up and walked to his car when we walked up. And he was like, no, I'll open the store for you guys. And we were like, oh man, we feel bad. Like, like it's fine. And he's like, no, I got you guys. So he unlocked the door, went in, did the little code for the security, and we were able to get our cigars. So
That is cool.
yeah,
VIP kind of.
yeah. Um,
See, that's the kind of things like just in business that go a long way, like
right.
your hours of operation. I was just talking to my parents about this, like, whether or not restaurants kind of like stay open or they still allow customers, and then their attitude if you walk in kind of closer to close and stuff like that. And this guy actually just like reopened because you guys were there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if this had been a bigger establishment, like it was a local mom and pop cigar shop this guy owned, and this had been like like a bigger business, like a corporate business, they wouldn't have opened back up for
No.
us. Um, so that's how you get. Yeah, you're right. It's all about like customer service and like pleasing the customer, and we wouldn't have expected him to open the store back up for us, but the fact that he did means that like he cares. I mean, he wanted to make a sale, obviously, but like again, most bigger companies would have been like, no, you got to come back tomorrow,
Yeah.
you know? Um, so that was really cool. And there was actually another story I have involving cigars in Chicago. One of the times I was there was a bunch of us there that were hanging out at the hotel, and only one of the guys, it was him and his buddy. There was two guys. They actually had a rental car. They were only one out of us that had a rental car. And I forget what kind of vehicle it was, but it was an SUV of some kind. But we wanted to go get cigars, and like drive around, and there was like 8 of us. And so like literally 8 of us piled in this fucking vehicle. Somebody was like in the backpack of the vehicle. And we drove around for a while until we found a place that was open. And this was a bigger cigar shop. Um, this was in Arlington Heights. I don't think we went downtown. And yeah, we rolled into the cigar shop with like fucking 8 deep. And we just like bought so many cigars from this place.
They're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
come on, bring them in.
Yeah. But yeah, so I have like a connection with Chicago and cigars, which is funny because typically I smoke cigars when I go to like Key West or to somewhere in South
Yeah,
America or the Dominican. You know, the Dominican to me has like the best cigars that I've had. But yeah, for whatever reason, when I'm in Chicago, it's like I want to smoke a cigar. You know,
yeah,
so yeah, overall, Chicago is a good time. It's fun. Uh, and I always have fun anytime I go there. It's a cool city. Like I said, it's got its own vibe separate from kind of the rest of the Midwest. And yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything super crazy when I was there. I know Chicago kind of gets a bad rap. Um, you see your standard big city stuff, but um, as long as you kind of know how to navigate a big city, and I've spent a lot of time in really big cities, some of the biggest cities in the world, and you know, it's it's a good time as long as you kind of know like what you're doing.
yeah,
You know, and the train was public transport. I survived public transport in Chicago, so and I survived going downtown many times. It's a cool city. I like it, and you can't tell me otherwise.
yeah. You're convinced.
Yeah,
Stereotype broken.
it like I said, it's one of those places that I didn't want to like.
Yeah,
I didn't want to like it, but I was like, man, I kind of like Chicago. You
yeah.
know, because I like it down south. I like southern cities. I like the tropics. I don't like northern places. I don't like places that are cold. Um,
Northern places are nice in the summer.
yeah, I guess I like places that are summer all year round. Um, but that's just how I feel, and but I really enjoyed Chicago. So that's a compilation of my many different trips to Chicago and some of the things I did. And I hope you enjoyed listening to it. So
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
yeah,
Did you ever go to that Sky Deck, Chicago?
I didn't, but I know what you're talking about, and I thought about it. Um, I think it's pretty expensive to do.
Oh, okay.
Not like crazy expensive, but I didn't do it at the time. But next time I'm in Chicago, I may do that.
Yeah, you should.
Where you walk out on the glass and you're overlooking the city. Yeah,
I don't think I could do it.
you could. You'd be fine.
I have an aversion to heights apparently now.
Apparently now.
I couldn't when we were at Tybee Island Lighthouse, I had to like collect myself and be able to like not to get out on the outside of the lighthouse.
Which is weird to me because at the lighthouse, I mean, it's high. It's not
There's a
crazy
rail.
high, but there's a rail
I
and it's
know.
secure. Yet we were
That's
just out west a couple months ago, and the amount of times that we were looking over the sides of cliffs, and
well,
I didn't.
I get a little dizzy looking up, and I don't like to get close, and you know that I don't like when you get close.
I like to get close.
And I'm like, "All right, come over here, please, a little bit more."
Yeah, I felt. Yeah, you're like my mom.
Yeah. There was like 3 or 4 different times when we were in Utah that I told you like, "Hey, get
Oh,
no, you're making me
time.
uncomfortable. Come a little closer."
That one time when we were on top of that really tall cliff and we were all parked up there, and I went to pee. I went around the
Oh my
corner to pee,
gosh,
and
yeah.
you were like, "Where's Jared? Where's Jared?"
I started
You
panicking.
thought I fell to my death.
And you pop out, you're like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh god."
Yeah, I hear you freaking out, and I'm like trying to shake it quick. I'm like, "Bro, I'm over here."
I was freaking out.
I like just putting my foot up to the edge and looking over.
No,
You know,
no,
one good gust of wind and you're gone.
no.
That's those cliffs that we were hanging over the top of. It was like the Grand Canyon size.
Yeah,
I mean, you fall, you're done.
yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Well, next time you go to Chicago, if you do it, we'll have to come back on and chat about it. At least
Yeah,
in a current event or something.
yeah. And anybody listening that likes Chicago, has been to Chicago, or plans on going to Chicago, let us know. You know, let us know what you thought about the episode, and if you've been to Chicago, let me know if I kind of caught the vibe of the city in some of my descriptions. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's it for this week, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Jared just hit it, but let us know if you enjoyed the episode. We are now available on uh iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. We just got it all pushed out so you can find us anywhere. You can watch video on Spotify and YouTube. You can find Jared on Instagram at Rover_Stover or at Rover Stover on YouTube. We are Temporary Locals. We're also on Instagram at TemporaryLocalsPodcast. We typically post a carousel with some pictures to go along with each episode, and we'll post reels every now and then too. And then you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, and that is at Mego Goes Global. And with that,
Hang on a second. I'm pretty sure I put this out there that we had a big announcement to make. Remember when we took a week off and we said when we were coming back we had an announcement to make?
we should have made that at the beginning of the episode.
Well, I know, but it's the end now. But yeah, and we've actually already posted about this. I think Temporary Locals social media page, our staff that runs our social media page already posted this for us. But
yeah.
and we've already mentioned this on a couple of the past episodes because we've been planning it for a bit. But we're going to be in Mexico. We're going to the Yucatan in a couple months, and we're going to not only record. Obviously, we were going to record an episode about that trip, but we're actually going to record an on location podcast from the Yucatan. So that'll be exciting.
Yes.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
be ready for that.
All right, announcement at the end of the episode.
That's right. Well, if you stayed this long, then you'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say we didn't tell you.
Yeah, we did at the very end. If you stuck around this long, and we can see based on
Yeah,
our
we know.
analytics, we know how long people are listening to these episodes. So from now on, we're only going to do big announcements and cool stuff at the end.
Yeah.
That way we know you're listening.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just fast forward to the end, I guess, but that'd be kind of stupid, right? Like just listen to the episode.
People do it.
Yeah, they do.
All right. Anyways, and with that,
I'm Jared.
I'm Megan. Thanks for exploring with us.
And remember to be a local anywhere you go.
Bye.
Bye.